What's up, YouTube? I'm going to be doing another deck profile on a really underrated and under the radar deck that I think actually has a lot of potential. Now, this deck profile will be of Fableds. I used to run Fableds last format or early this format, I don't really remember. Because last format definitely I ran 6 Sams. And after all the banlist stuff happened, I decided I wanted to try something different. So I moved to Fableds, and then I moved to plants. So let's get the deck profile started. As you saw, three Chawa. Now the entire premise of the Fabled archetype is to discard, and once the cards are discarded, they get effects. I mean, they're like Dark Worlds. I personally think Fableds are better. They're more consistent, which some might disagree, but I think they're a lot better than Dark Worlds. This is your main discard engine. You just discard another Fable, and this gets special summoned. And you can do that from your hand, so it's a really good card. Next is Triple Cerberus. Amazing card. When this card is discarded, you just special summon it, and it's a 2-star tuner. Light. I mean, it's just a really good card. Opens up a lot of synchros, and with this you just get both of them out and normal summon something, and you got a lot of synchro options. Next is what keeps the deck consistent, Triple Grimrow. This card is really good. Search out any Fable card in your deck. There's no restrictions. So you usually want to go, I usually go this, like if I have this and Cerberus, or this Cerberus and Chawa, I might go into Cruise or something else, but you have all the Fableds in your deck as an option. So good card. Next is Triple Tengu. This is what makes the deck really good, I think, or at least like a lot more consistent too, because this is always going to be one of your powerful non-tuner monsters that you synchro into, and it's 4, so it's nice. You can go into Reagan with Chawa really easily. You get synchros, and it opens up more synchro possibilities, so you can OTK, which Fableds are like most notable for. Next is I run 2 Crews. I want to run 2 Crews because Crews is kind of situational. Like, you're not always gonna have a discard, and it's not always that advantageous to have 2, and with or to have 3. And with 3, I feel like I would get a lot of them dead in my hand, so that's why I only run 2. Next is the Tricky. I run 2 Tricky. I think that's all you need. This combos really well with Cerberus and Cruise. You just discard Cerberus, you can make an automatic 7-star, which is really good. I'll get into that later. Next is I run 1 Ganasha. Like, I know other people at my locals who run Fableds, they don't run Tengus. So they need triple Ganasha, so they have something to sync with their tuners. Because otherwise, a lot of the time, you can run into a lot of tuners in your hand and nothing to like sync into. So you need a lot of this guy. I only run 1 though, because I choose to run Tengus. Next is Snipe Hunter. Snipe Hunter is a really good card in this deck. You just discard pretty much anything, you get its effect, and you get to pop one. There's it's like a +2 usually, unless you have bad draws. And this card has kind of screwed me over before in a duel when I rolled 1 when I really needed to pop a card. But I mean, the probability that that's going to happen is less than like the advantage it's going to plus you. Plus, this card can't be negated by Stardust, Musakani Magatama, or cards that prevent destruction, because it's not a sure thing. It's not certain that it's going to destroy, so you can't chain those to activate it. So that's a cool effect. Next is just BLS. I mean, you have so many light targets in your deck. You're never gonna be missing those, and then you can just you splash in darks and you're fine. And this card's herp derp. Next is those dark targets. I have tour guides and targets. The 2 tour guides, because I only have 2, and then there's Sangan, which searches out everything except Ganasha. Like, I wish Ganasha was weaker a lot of the time, because I would like to search him out, but it's fine. And then Kushano. Kushano is a really good card. If you have like a dead hand, no way to discard, but this is engraved, that helps out a lot. Also, if you have no, like a couple of Grimrows in hand and like tour guide, and you can't search anything out. You just go tour guide into Ganasha, or sorry, into Kushano, and then you can search out because he's on the field, and then you can go into whatever exceed you want. So that's really just a plus of the deck. Plus, it's the dark targets that you put in the grave, the Sangans and tour guides, and also Snipe Hunter. Next is I decided to splash in these two plant cards just because they're cards that can be discarded and it's not going to minus you. Well, it actually plus you for Dandy, and Glow Up Bulb will allow you to synchro more. For traps, I barely run any traps. They're good traps. So I run triple Reckless Greed because the key factor of Fableds is that they're fast and they OTK, and this just assists that a lot. Like if you have two of these in hand, you just set them, and even if your opponent like Heavy Storms or something, there's a good chance you're gonna win because you have 4 cards in hand, and 4+ cards in hand in Fableds is a lot of time in OTK. Plus, sure, when you're not able to draw next turn if you didn't OTK, it hurts, but a lot of the time, more amount of the time, you're gonna be OTKing them. And then next is just the Solemn lineup. They're too good not to run even in an OTK deck. It prevents a lot of this holds you out as if your OTK doesn't go off correctly. And actually, Judgment helps a lot because you can just attack for game and negate their response. Next, for spell cards, 2 Monster Reincarnation. I don't think I have to explain the plus of this. You get to discard and add a card back. So you can return BLS and discard Cerebral. It's just a huge plus. Plus, it's a really good play with Kushano. You discard something, add Kushano to hand, or add sorry, all their names are confusing me. You add Grimrow back to hand, and then you can search off the one you special summon to. And this is a dual terminal one, so it looks pretty cool. I don't know if you can actually see a little. Mind Control, synchro with your opponent's monsters, no need to explain. Then there's 1-for-1. You have the 1-star target Chawas, and then you also have Global. And this card, it doesn't discard it, so don't think you'll get your effect off that. But don't worry, it's not bad. Foolish. Foolish has 2 targets in the deck. There's Dandy, and then there's also Kushano if you really need that engrave. Or if you're desperate, you can send a dark target or something if you have BLS. You draw a crap load in this deck, and you're gonna draw into Pot of Avarice, and I've said before, Pot of Avarice is amazing, and it's just gonna make your OTK way quicker and way easier. Then there's just staples, Reborn, Dark Hole to clear the field before you OTK, and then Heavy to clear the back row before you OTK. Those don't need to explain. Next is the extra deck. There's stable stuff. I don't know. Scrap Dragon helps the OTK go off. You can set a useless spell card and get rid of problem stuff. Here's a ridiculous Fabled card. It's Fabled Unicorn. This card negates counter traps, so yeah, enough said. Trishula, I actually don't go into this card that much. It's usually only if I have the plant engine going, but it's just too good of a card not to run. Zen Mains for the Tour Guide Exceeds. Fabled Leviathan. This card's awesome because you only need one other non-tuner, so you can sync with big monsters, 8-star monsters. You can sync Cerebral into it, so it's really good. There's just that for the exceeding formula. Since you're running Dandy, you're gonna have tokens to sync with, so it works. And a lot of the time, I've actually done the Librarian formula play in this deck, so it's good. Black Rose, yeah. Bryo is pretty much the all-star synchro of the game due to your discards plussing you. So this card's going to remove all this stuff from the field, allow you to OTK with all the stuff you're special summoning off its discard. Next is 2 Ragans. This card allows you to draw 2 if you have no cards in hand, draw 1 if you have 1 card. And it's really easy to go into if you have Chawa and Cruise. Chawa and Cruise. And it'll plus you 2, and you can just keep going, even if your OTK seems stale. Then there's Stardust Dragon, blah. Then there's Valkyrius. You could debate running other 8-star synchros, but he's a big beat stick. He's got 29, as you can see, and his effects okay. I mean, you discard a Fiend to draw. That helps. I mean, you'll plus off Cruise, and if you have a dead Kushano in hand, that helps too. Last, if there was a second place, it'd be Ancient Sacred Wyvern. This card allows you to OTK so much easier. I mean, if you don't know the effect, it gains the attack difference between your and your opponent's life points when your life points are larger than your opponent's. So, like, after an attack by, like, Librarian or, like, Reagan, it's already at, like, 4,000 plus attack. So if you just attack with, like, Tengu, Reagan, and this, it's game. And a lot of people get really surprised when you pull out this card, because, I mean, it's not... This card's pretty much only played in, I guess, Dark Worlds, because they got the Fabled Raven and Fableds, and this card just wrecks crap. Shit, I didn't want to say shit, but... Well, thanks for watching. That was my Fabled deck profile. Try and make it if you want. It's a really fun deck to play just because of all the options, all the synchros you can do, all the herp derping, FTK, OTK crap. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. That was TeamWattmole.